There's encouraging news coming out of Ferrari regarding their 2024 F1 Challenger, which today was revealed to be named as the SF-24, with Marc Genet revealing the SF-24. It is giving a very different feeling to last year's SF-23 in the simulator, which was a car they were not completely convinced by after reviewing simulation data. And although last season's Ferrari spoke of race wins and a title challenge during the launch and early parts of the season, team boss Fred Vasseur, who joined the team after the SF-23 had been designed and created, later admitted that Ferrari already knew very early on that their car was not on par with that of Red Bull's RB19, nor would it be at any point in the season. The first morning of the test, I think that it was quite obvious already. This is a stark admission from the Ferrari team principal, particularly after the flamboyant presentation of the 23 car. And with now a full year under his belt, you can see why they are going for something much more understated for the 2024 presentation. They're cooling the expectations and trying to create this tone of business as usual, something that most other teams do very well at this particular time of the year. But at least in terms of the simulator data that they have gathered thanks to the work both Carlos and Charles have put in over the winter, they've seen that the data is very different to that of the 2023 car, which will be pleasing to them to have seen, as long as it's in a positive light. But they're not getting excited over at Maranello after the disappointment of the 2023 season. We still have to wait to see the car on the track. That was the definitive message from Genet, even though the first signs are looking good for them ahead of 2024. But I want to hear from all of you Ferrari fans out there that are watching this video right now. What do you hope and secondly expect to happen throughout the course of the 2024 season? Do you think Ferrari will have created a car that can at least fight the likes of Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes to, get to claim pole positions and race victories? Let me know in the comments down below. But moving away from all of last season's negativity, there is good news for the Scuderia and the Tifosi, with the Ferrari ambassador talking about a very different feeling already with this year's SF-24, as the car is now named. Optimism. All we can tell is what the simulator tells us and the sensations of the drivers in the simulator. In any case, the real and final judgment will come on the track when we finally reach preseason testing in Bahrain. But it is true that last year at this point we were no longer completely convinced with the car from what the simulator told us, and this year the sensations are very different. But we still have to wait to see the car on track, which will be on February the 13th, and then preseason testing in Bahrain. It's the latter that will be the first big test of Ferrari's SF-24 as it goes up against Red Bull's RB19, the Mercedes W15 and McLaren's MCL38. The three teams expected to be up near the front of the grid. And with all this optimism as we head into preseason testing, what of that regarding a world title fight this season? And it does beg the question, can Ferrari win a world title with Leclerc or Sainz? It's difficult, Genet admits, because Red Bull had a very important margin last year, and they say that this year's car is much better. They are the favourites, obviously. Fighting with them for the World Championship is a bit optimistic to say, but to take one more step forward and be able to fight more assuredly with them, yes. And according to Vasseur, this year's Ferrari car will be comprised of completely brand new components. Now, as for the changes, I've made a video previously on that, which you can see now on the screen very briefly. I'll leave a link in the description below, as well as a card in the top right corner of this video. But what I will do is just list every single part of the car that has currently been rumoured to undergo a major transformation for the 2024 season. These changes are taking effect from the front all the way to the rear. So we are talking about the front wing, the side pods. We're even talking about some unique features regarding the halo. We're talking about the Coke bottle and the engine cover as a whole, and of course the diffuser, beam wing and the rear wing. So overall, Ferrari are quite obviously trying to have a much more low-key pre-season testing for the 2024 season without jumping the gun before they haven't even turned a wheel on the racetrack in Bahrain, which is in stark contrast to 2023 when so many rumours and speculations were abound, particularly with what they'd done with their car. And yes, some of that comes from the Italian press, as is always the case when it comes to Ferrari, because we know that they have such a passionate fan base, both in terms of the, typical and average fans, but also the sports writers, the people in the know. They're massively passionate about the team and they're always writing up reports. So I think it's really interesting to see Ferrari are trying to downplay everything, trying not to get as many leaks out, and I think this will stand them in a much better position when it comes to pre-season testing if things haven't gone as they would like in terms of their car design and that of their opposition's car design, and that should hopefully, for their sake, allow them to get as much data gathered as possible throughout the 3 days of pre-season testing, and hopefully have brought them closer to the front of the grid. Right guys, that's the video. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like and leave comments down below. And I'll catch you all in another Formula 1 video.